Have you ever heard that it takes 10,000 hours to master something, whether it's playing the violin, coding, painting, or playing basketball? 10,000 hours keeps coming up like some magic number. But where did this idea come from? And is it really true? Well, it comes from a fascinating book by Malcolm Gladwell called Outliers, The Story of Success. In today's video, we're diving into Chapter 2, the chapter that introduced the world to the 10,000-hour rule. I'm going to walk you through what the rule really means, share some powerful real-life stories that Gladwell uses, including how it applied to people like Bill Gates and the Beatles, and in the end, I'll break down whether this rule still holds up today. So let's get started. Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers isn't your typical How to Succeed book. Instead of focusing only on talent or personality traits, Gladwell asks a deeper question. What are the hidden forces that shape the most successful people in the world? In other words, what makes an outlier, someone who's far above average? His answer is complex. Success, according to him, isn't just about being smart or working hard. It's also about timing, culture, luck, and yes, the opportunity to practice. This brings us to one of the most famous concepts in the book, the 10,000-hour rule. According to Gladwell, it takes about 10,000 hours of focused, deliberate practice to become world-class at something. This idea is based on research by psychologist Anders Ericsson, who studied expert performers across different fields, from chess to music to medicine. Gladwell interprets the data like this. No one becomes an expert without putting in the time. Talent may open the door, but practice is what builds mastery. He writes, 10,000 hours is the magic number of greatness. But here's the catch. Not everyone has the chance to practice for 10,000 hours. And that's where his real insight lies, in the opportunities that allow some people to put in those hours while others never get the chance. One of the most striking examples Gladwell gives is about the Beatles. Before they became the most iconic rock band in history, the Beatles were just a group of teenagers trying to get gigs. But in the early 1960s, they got an unusual opportunity to perform in the nightclubs of Hamburg, Germany. There, they played non-stop, sometimes 8 hours a night, 7 days a week. By the time they exploded onto the world stage in 1964, they had performed over 1,200 live shows, totaling more than 10,000 hours. This experience honed their skills, tightened their group dynamic, and made them far more prepared than other bands of the time. Gladwell argues, the Beatles didn't just happen to be great. They had thousands of hours of practice before most people even heard of them. Next, Gladwell turns to Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft. People usually assume Gates was simply a genius who dropped out of Harvard and built a tech empire. But there's more to the story. Gates attended Lakeside School in Seattle, a private school that in 1968 just so happened to buy a computer terminal and time-sharing access to a mainframe. That was incredibly rare at the time. Even universities didn't have that kind of access. Gates became obsessed with programming. He'd spend late nights and early mornings coding, sometimes sneaking out of his house to do so. He even arranged to work at a nearby tech company to get more hands-on time. By the time he dropped out of Harvard to start Microsoft, he had already logged well over 10,000 hours of programming practice. Gladwell's point? Gates's success wasn't just about brilliance. It was also about being in the right place at the right time with the right tools and the time to use them. Gladwell also points out that many tech moguls were born between 1953 and 1956, including Gates, Steve Jobs, Eric Schmidt, and Paul Allen. Why? Because they were teenagers when personal computing was just emerging, old enough to understand it, but young enough to embrace it fully. They were perfectly positioned to take advantage of a revolution and had the opportunity to put in their 10,000 hours. Gladwell's point isn't that these people weren't smart, but that they were smart and had rare chances that most people never get. So what does the 10,000 hour really mean? It's not a guarantee. Practicing for 10,000 hours doesn't mean you'll become the best. But what Gladwell is saying is this: behind every world-class success, there's a story of extraordinary effort and hidden opportunity. It's not just about hard work, it's about the chance to work hard in the first place. Some people, because of where they're born, who their parents are, or what school they go to, get those chances. Others don't. That's what makes success more complicated and more human than we often think. So to wrap up Chapter 2 of Outliers, here are the big ideas. Mastery takes time. Around 10,000 hours of deliberate practice is what separates good from great. Opportunity matters just as much as effort. Those who succeed usually had rare chances to practice early and often. Success is not a solo story. It's the result of talent, effort, timing, support, and circumstance. Gladwell's goal isn't to discourage us, but to help us understand success more fully. When we see someone at the top of their field, it's easy to say, "Wow, they're just gifted." But maybe the better question is, what opportunities did they have that helped them get there? If you found this video insightful, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you believe in the 10,000 hour rule? Do you think it still applies today? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you won't miss the next chapter breakdown of Outliers. Thanks for watching, and remember, practice, passion, and the right opportunity can take you further than you ever imagined.